At the beginning of the 20th century, the world seemed like a vast and relentless place for those born too small. It was a time when science walked hand in hand with prejudice, and hope was a luxury reserved for a few. Amid the dust of amusement parks and the buzz of crowds, an unlikely figure emerged, a man whose journey defied everything that was considered possible: Martin Couney. A name almost forgotten by official history, but forever engraved in the hearts of thousands of families. He never wore a doctor's coat, never heard the clinking of surgical instruments in a classroom, nor signed a diploma. Couney was, in the eyes of the world, an outsider, an imposter. But for thousands of babies on the brink of death, he was the last hope. While hospitals refused premature newborns, considering them too weak to survive, Couney saw a spark of life in them. In an era dominated by the eugenic belief that only the strongest should live, he dared to disagree. Where many saw only statistics, Couney saw possible futures, smiles hidden beneath the thin and delicate skin of the babies. And it was like this, with courage and compassion, that Martin Couney transformed medicine. Not with scalpels or complex formulas, but with a spectacle. The setting, the amusement parks of Coney Island, New York, and fairs around the world. Amid the smell of cotton candy, the laughter of children, the lights of Ferris wheels, Couney set up an unusual exhibition. A gallery of incubators, where premature babies were the stars. These incubators, inspired by simple machines used to hatch chicken eggs, became cradles of hope. In hospitals, doctors looked on with disdain, calling it madness, an aberration. But Couney persisted. With each ticket sold, each curious visitor, he raised funds to care for the little ones. Every cent, one more chance for a fragile life. Before the eyes of the public, science happened live. The constant warmth of the incubators, the dedicated care of trained nurses, the carefully administered nutrition, all that which hospitals refused to offer, Couney provided with dignity. And the impossible happened. The babies survived. They grew. They returned to their parents' arms, now with the healthy weight of life. The exhibition became famous, attracting crowds and even celebrities. But above all, it attracted desperate parents who saw in Couney the last hope for their children. There was no judgment, only acceptance. There was no bureaucracy, only action. And so, over decades, more than 7,000 children were saved by that man, without a title, but with a mission. Meanwhile, outside, the world was slowly changing. What was once treated as a spectacle began to be recognized as science. Hospitals finally opened their eyes to the effectiveness of incubators. The doors, once closed to premature babies, began to open. What was seen as entertainment revealed itself as a fundamental advancement in neonatal medicine. When, in 1943, Couney's show came to an end, the hospital landscape was already different. Incubators shone in the corridors of large hospitals. Neonatal care protocols were debated and improved. What began as a park attraction became a vital standard of care worldwide. But above any technological triumph, there remained the human legacy. Every child saved by Couney carried with them a story of overcoming. They gave rise to entire families, to generations that would never have existed without that act of faith. Today, adults walk the streets, have children and grandchildren, live and dream. And perhaps they don't even know that they owe their lives to a courageous spectacle. Couney never sought recognition. His reward was every smile, every little body that gained strength and color. He proved that humanity does not depend on titles, but on action. He proved that science can and should be an ally of empathy. He showed the world that miracles happen when someone refuses to accept the sentence of the impossible. In every modern incubator, in every premature baby saved today, there is a bit of Couney's legacy. A spark of creativity, courage, and compassion that defies time. Where many saw only limitations, he saw potential. Where the elite saw madness, he found living proof that it is worth fighting for. Today, thousands walk through this world because a man, labeled an imposter, dared to challenge death not with formulas or titles, but with humanity. He reminds us that behind every life, there is an invisible story made of choices, boldness, and faith. And perhaps, deep down, saving the world really begins with a simple act of creative courage, with the willingness to look at the unlikely and see a possibility there, with the boldness to challenge the rules when they serve only to exclude and condemn. May the story of Martin Couney inspire each of us not to accept limits imposed by fear or tradition. May it remind us of the transformative power of compassion, creativity, and courage. Because sometimes all the world needs is someone willing to see hope where there is only despair, and to act, even if the path seems strange, even if the audience doubts. If this story touched your heart, share it, because brave ideas deserve to be echoed, and human examples like Couney's need to be known, celebrated, and multiplied. Follow those who search for these treasures every day. Together, let's spread the beauty of those who shine where the world only sees darkness. Every act of courage, no matter how small, can pave the way for a future where everyone has the right to life, hope, and the spectacle of existence.